I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. The weight of the world crushes me down. Fear and uncertainty all around. But I deep find inner strength to face the trials length by length. A way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes, like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my heart reborn. I've walked through fire and emerged scarred, but wiser, stronger, and unmarred. My existence is a test of will, of trials overcome, of a soul made bold. The weight of the world's above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Oh, made bold. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my spirit unborn. I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must fight. Day to day, nothing changes. All I want is a moment to think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me and I can't escape. I shout for help when no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear. Lost in this chaos, I'm searching for peace.
Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to the Dirt Sheet Radio NXT Post Show Rewind. It is May 27th, 2025. I'm Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster, here joined as always by little Molly Holly, the long-haired Chihuahua, my manager and valet, or as I've been told, I'm actually the Luther to her Tony Storm, but excuse me. But nonetheless, guys, we are here to talk NXT. As it's going to be me and Molly breaking it down for you guys tonight. Holy hell. What a show we had tonight. Hot off the heels of Battleground, a big wrestling weekend this past weekend, and they had a lot to kind of live up to follow up on such a big event. And man, they capitalized on that, and they put on one hell of a show tonight. It is worth mentioning that this show was originally planned to be at a venue in Tampa. The sales weren't so great, and it was moved back to the Performance Center. So they had this show planned for tonight, and this was a crazy night. But guys, before we can get into it, before we can break down all the wild news of the night for NXT, I do have to give that shout out to the us on the web. That is dirtsheetradio.com. Dirtsheetradio.com for all of your pop culture, professional wrestling, entertainment needs, everything all in one convenient location. Make it your homepage. Look at it multiple times a day, just like we do. Not because we're legally obligated, but because we love it. Folks, as I said, we had a heck of a show tonight. We had multiple title matches on the card. Spoiler alert, title changes on the card here tonight. This was a big show going into it. Excuse me. On the docket here, we had Jasper Troy making his in-ring debut. Tatum Paxley taking on Jaden Paxley, good grief. Tatum Paxley taking on Jaida Parker. Guys, this is an exciting night. I'm clearly all hyped up, tripping over my words. Molly's excited. She's only yawned twice. Also, we had Mike Santana of TNA making his NXT debut against Tavion Heights for the North American Championship. Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. And, of course, for the Women's Championship, Jayne getting a shot at Stephanie Vaquer. And also they were advertising that Trick Williams, the new and reigning TNA champion, would be in the house. And guys, we were pretty much off to the races from go here. The show did open from the Performance Center, as most weeks tend to do, with wrestlers filing into the building as Vic, Joseph, and Corey and Booker ran down what was to happen on the show tonight. And after everyone, okay, fine, Molly, go that way. That's fine. After everyone made their way into the building there, and they kind of did the formal rundown, we started off immediately with the North American Championship on the line. Ricky Saints taking on all ego Ethan Page. Ethan, no smile, all seriousness, all business on the way to the ring here tonight. And as they opened, they did establish that there was extra security all around the ring, almost like in a lumberjack match capacity. There was security all over the place because, they were really trying to get across and establish that this is serious between Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. This is a long time going for these two. We're hitting blood feud territory. And, these two, couldn't keep their fists apart as soon as they were both in the ring. It was bang off, before the bell even started. The title handed off after the action began. The bell rang. And it was just chaos. It was a chaotic match. It was a wrestling match, but there were definitely some brawlish aspects to it. And as they began to brawl around the ring again, Ava makes her way out there, and she speaks to the commentary team. She speaks to the referee, and you can kind of hear her on the camera say that there has to be a winner. During this bit, while she's talking to everyone, again, kind of off mic, the crowd was just very loudly chanting "No DQ, no DQ." That's not what was happening here technically, but I think as was said on commentary, there was still disqualifications and rules in the match, but Ava was very clear that she wanted a winner in this. So, leniency with the rules, not an absence thereof. But they continued to brawl outside the ring, and this was a nasty spot. Ricky taking a cutter across the bottom bar of that chair, the bar snapping out from it. Absolutely brutal looking spot. You kind of thought that maybe they were going to call the match there. Maybe that was going to be like a referee stoppage type thing. But no, that's not how this would be. They continued to fight. The match went on. Ricky fighting on, kicking out, continuing to wrestle, but he got dropped on that throat a second time on the rope, and that led to another cutter and the finish. And the first major shocker of the night All Ego, Ethan Page, 12 minutes, 54 seconds, winning the NXT North American Championship. Much like a lot of what happened tonight, I have to say that I didn't have that happening. I didn't see that coming. I thought for sure that Ricky Saints would be walking into Worlds Collide as the North American champion and defending that belt there, but no, that's not the case. Not what's happening. Ricky, again, just part of the story being those repeated nasty blows to the throat contributing to the loss here, but great match, fantastic match, great opener here. Again, I say this a lot about NXT, but their openers really do set the tone and the pace for the night. Often bookending it very neatly, and that's kind of what we did here tonight. Spoiler alert: this wouldn't be the only major shocker here in a match. But yeah, like I said, though, really, really good match here. Shocking surprise ending. The crowd was hot for it. I mean, obviously, title change, big upset, but not to be the only upset we had tonight. Hey, but yeah, backstage, we had with Sarah Schreiber, Fatal Influence, being interviewed ahead of Jacy Jayne's title match tonight in the main event. And hey, look back there, look, we got Jasmine Nix back in the mix. So she'd been gone for a couple weeks, didn't know where she was, but hey, she's here, guys. She's still there. She's not released. She's not gone. Jasmine's still she's still hanging around. But they were sowing more seeds of dissent here within Fatal Influence, as Fallon was saying that she's the one that should be wrestling Stephanie. But it was quick to be pointed out that she had already lost to Stephanie, so, it makes sense. But yeah, so the tension, thick amongst the Fatal Influence members there. But so after that, we had a quick video package for TNA's Mike Santana, who would be making his NXT in-ring debut tonight. He did make an appearance and a challenge to Tavion Heights at the Battleground PLE over the weekend. And yeah, so this was good. Saw a little video package. If you didn't know who Mike Santana was, gave you a little taste of what he's capable of and what he can do. And, kind of gave you a little touch of his character as well. So solid work. I say that all the time, but these video packages, they always knock them out of the park with these. Really, a really good job with those. From there, back in the backstage area, we had the newly reunited Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. For those of you that didn't see Battleground on Sunday, Inamura made his surprise return, aiding Hank and Tank and Briggs against the Information Bush, or the Calling, as they are formally called on NXT television. But yeah, Briggs was happy to have his buddy back, and Inamura said that he came back for Briggs, and it was nice. And they seem to be relatively on the same page here. Briggs really wanting to go after those NXT tag titles, but Inamura saying, not quite yet. There's other things to do as well. And he's like, all right, yeah, we got to take out the Calling, or the Information Bush, as the pro wrestling hipster likes to say. He didn't say that. I probably would have pissed a little bit if he actually said that, but and Inamura was very steadfast that yeah, they're going to do that. They're going to get the titles, but even bigger things. So don't know what Inamura has in his mind for the future for he and Briggs or himself, but he was pretty amped for bigger things. The tag titles, yes, and more. Yes, and that's the number one rule of improv. For those of you that didn't ask. Sorry. All right, guys. Moving forward to the show, we had our second match on the card. As just mentioned with the video package, we had Mike Santana making his way through a very amped crowd for his entrance. He was received like $1 million here. Crowd was super hot for him, and yeah, looked awesome too. Coming through the crowd, you don't see that as often in the Performance Center, so that was a little bit different. Very cool, and yeah, then out comes Tavion Heights with the No Quarter Catch crew at his side, and they put on a fantastic match. Bell to bell, solid action. And again, the crowd was into this, as well they should be. If you're not familiar with Mike Santana, I know that a lot of our listeners and viewers probably do watch TNA. TNA is kind of the sister show of NXT. And hey, you should always be checking out the Dirt Sheet Radio TNA Impact Rewind every Thursday night. So shout out to the guys over there. But yeah, great match. It was a little, I don't say obvious, but you knew Tavion wasn't going to win this. This was, Mike Santana's first match on NXT television, so he was, destined to get the win here tonight, and he did, and showed some respect to Tavion Heights after the match, which again, kind of striking that dichotomy between how Miles and Tavion are both very respectful, will shake hands, where athletes were friendly competition, healthy competition type of wrestlers, and Charlie's kind of a douchebag. That's the dichotomy: friendly competition and douchery. And they touched on that again a little bit later tonight. We'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, great match. Mike Santana getting the win here. Crowd was into it. It's great, solid stuff. But let's see here. Sorry, lost my place in my notes there. But after the match, we had, I think it was the progressive spotlight moment of the night, and that was on the teaming of Wes Lee and Tyson and Tyreek. And again, they've done a good job establishing, their motivations and, just kind of the heel persona for Wes Lee. They hadn't really defined Tyson and Tyreek a whole lot on NXT television proper prior to this. They'd had a couple appearances here and there. They were really much more frequented on Level Up back when Level Up was still a thing. Now it's Evolve. So they changed the names, freshen it up over time. But good vignette. All of these are always well done. My only complaint on these is you kind of end up having guys saying the same kind of rhetoric over and over, like, we're here to change things, we're taking over, we're going to break the ceiling, like that sort of stuff. But beyond there being some cliches and whatnot in there, good vignette, great stuff, no complaints. I like Wesley. I think he's taken to this heel character pretty well. They haven't really had anything super meaty for him to do in a while, but hopefully that'll change here in the near future. Wes is just so damn talented. All right, guys. From there, it's always one of my favorite moments of the week. We had our weekly Chase U segment, backstage licking their wounds. Cale Dixon and fourth generation superstar Uriah Connors back there with Andre Chase. And he was trying to explain to them that, get themselves into these situations, running into things headlong, taking all these risks. This wasn't the right thing to do. And they completely misunderstood this, saying that what they needed to do was take more risks and put themselves out there even more. And as they were having this conversation, and as Chase was trying to chalk them back down from this, Ava was walking by. They ran up to Ava, and they said, hey, we're ready. We want another match. Let's do this. Gung-ho, taking chances, taking shots. And she gave him a match, because that's what Ava does. She gives you a match when you ask for it, unless you were Eddie Thorpe, in which case you asked and asked and asked and very rarely got booked, and that was your whole story, and then you got released. But yeah, she gave him a match. She said that next week they can wrestle the Dark State. And they weren't happy about this, mostly because of the numbers game issue. They said, well, there's 4 of them and only 2 of us. She glanced over at Andre Chase and said, well, actually, there's 3 of you, so it'll be 3 of you taking on 3 of them. Andre wasn't happy, y'all. He was not pleased with this. Uriah and Cale were seeing the silver lining. They were trying to find the good in this, thinking, hey, at least we get to team up. And Andre shouted at them, no, we're not a team. Which is a little disheartening, maybe Andre is a little apprehensive to put himself back in the ring when regarding matters of Chase U, as that's gone poorly for him multiple times in the past. But next week, we're going to get the Dark State taking on Chase U. So looking forward to that. They're probably going to get their asses positively stomped out, as that's kind of the story they're going on here with Chase U. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Uriah and Kale can sell their asses off, so it'll be good. All right. After that, we had one of the plug segments here tonight. Family Fallout, Battleground, Channing, Stacks, Lorenzo, the underboss, beats Tony D'Angelo after Luca Crucifino made his surprise return. And then Luca just kind of stared at the Don, and the Don walked away. Yeah, he was confused because, Tony said he thought that he got clipped in the desert, which, again, kind of establishing that they're killing people off at NXT. But then, he shows up at Battleground. He kind of interferes, doesn't say anything. He told him he doesn't have time for any of this, And Lucas said that he wanted to reach out, but he felt like if he did, he was putting everybody at risk. He saw what was going on, and, he just was trying to do the right thing, but he couldn't stay away with everything that was happening. Luca told the Don that he could be trusted, but Tony didn't seem to think that he could trust Luca, and I don't know if Tony can trust Luca at this point. I got to say, the greatest professional wrestling mob story ever told continues to roll on here, and this has more twist and turn than the curly fry from Arby's. This is quite the tale they're doing here. So I don't know. I kind of with over the last couple of weeks, I thought that Luca was going to return to Battleground, but I thought he was going to be decidedly with Stacks, and that doesn't seem to be the case. But maybe they're playing the long game, the long con. It's the kind of dirty tactics that the underboss would take. But we'll see. But from there, TNA Champion Trick Williams making his way to the ring here to gloat, to celebrate, to show off that he is the new face of TNA. Despite Trick's heel leanings lately, the crowd's still pretty solidly behind him. Big, heavy whoop that Trick chants along with the music. Booker T, super, super into it. Just want to say that during that, my wife pointed out how much she hates that. She's not alone. I told her lots of people find Booker T to be wildly obnoxious on commentary. But Book super into it. Whoop that Trick. Oh, yeah, man. I like it. 6'4". Like, I don't know why Book needed to mention Trick's height. Is that with or without the heels? We'll get there. So Trick is out there, and yeah, he's gloating. He's healing it up though. He's being a dick about this, talking about how he's the new TNA champion. He beat that average Joe Hendry, and a little bit of an average Joe chant in there too. But he did call the fans stupid for getting behind Joe Hendry. He said the line between NXT and TNA is now Trick Williams. So he is the line at this point, and nobody should cross him. And that they need to change the name of TNA to Trick NA. This apparently besmirched TNA wrestler Mike Santana, who showered and changed after his match. Man, real quick turnaround there for him. But it's a good thing he did, because he had to come out. He was fresh, ready to roll here. And he made his way out to the ring. And, man, he laid into Trick hard here. Saw some folks on the online saying that Mike Santana utterly smoked Trick Williams on the mic. That is opinion. That is for you, ladies and gents, to decide on your own. But it was a great back and forth promo here. And Mike Santana kind of reiterated something that he said at Battleground. Which was that he wanted the winner of Trick Williams and Joe Hendry. And he again said that is his intention. He is going to be the man to take that championship off of Trick Williams. And, before I could get to Celeste decided to join us. Before they could really come to blows there immediately. On the Tron there, we had the director of Authority, Santino Morella, coming up and telling that Tricky Williams, he talked to Ava, and next week, so quick, Trick Williams is going to be defending the TNA Championship against Mike Santana on NXT television. And there goes Celeste. I'm shocked that they're going to this quickly. Um, but yeah, they should have a hell of a match. Again, if tonight was your first night seeing Mike Santana wrestle, I'm assuming that his match with Tavion Heights, impressed you, or at the very least you found him good. So yeah, they should put on a good match next week. Like I said, really looking forward to that. I'm just kind of surprised that they went there so quickly, but yeah, so one of the things that Mike did mention during the promo exchange was Trick Williams' heels, which is why I brought it up earlier. But the two did come to quick blows here, and then yeah, they separated. And next week, guys, going to get that one. Yeah, hi Celeste. um, after that, we were in the backstage area where Stephanie Vaquer was approached by Ava, and she said that at Worlds Collide she's going to be having a tag team match against Alice and Chica Tormenta, and Stephanie Vaquer said that she was going to have to find herself a tag team partner, and she didn't have to look very far for very long, or really at all, as Lola Vice approached from, again, like these aren't big locker rooms. I don't know how you didn't see her standing over there, but Lola Vice approached and said that she would be Stephanie Vaquer's tag team partner, and that was made official very shortly thereafter, with the poster already being produced and posted online. So yeah, the Worlds Collide card coming together very, very quickly. And yeah, they added a couple matches tonight. We'll get to the other one here in just a little bit. But yeah, that's gonna be good, guys. Worlds Collide coming up just a couple weeks away. Looking forward to that, as I always am, because I love my NXT guys. Sorry, but moving on from there, we had our next match on the card. It was Tatum Paxley taking on Jaida Parker. A very sad Tatum Paxley. Tatum Paxley bringing her dolls of all of her friends that used to be there but are now sadly released. Jaida was already in the ring, which was interesting, but that doesn't mean a heck of a lot in NXT, as Jaida did win the match here tonight in pretty short order, just about under 4 minutes. What I have, 3:49. And she won it kind of off of a distraction. She went and screwed with the dolls. Let's see if that was the redheaded one. That's the Gigi Dolan doll there. But she messed with the doll, and this distracted poor Tatum. And then sad, lonely Tatum Paxley got hit with a hypnotic, and got taken out for the 1, 2, 3. Sad, just poor Tatum. No friends left. And she's losing matches. Her dolls are getting, you know, um, just mess with. Maybe she could have learned to share a little better, but that's not really the point here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. She's distraught. She's sad, and Jaida beat her, and she's sadder. But after the match, oh my God, Thea Hale out of nowhere jumping Jaida Parker. Yeah, so I'm not really clear on heel face alignment at this point. I think Jaida leans more heel. She's been very mean to Tatum, but Thea attacking this way, I mean, it was comeuppance though. She did attack Thea last week when Thea was talking to Tatum. I don't know. As always, a lot of moving pieces. But yeah, I mean, I'm here for a Jaida Parker Thea Hale TV program. No complaints out of me. They'll put on some good matches there, so can't complain. Just it's been a while, just back and forth attacks so far for them, but we'll see what the future holds for them. I will say again, though, before moving on, that I'm just such a big fan of Tatum Paxley's character. I like the kind of kooky spooky gimmick anyway. But like her starting to lean into this lonely, tortured soul kind of facet of the character, it's going to add a layer of seriousness to her that I think she really needs if they want this character to be something that would translate to the main roster eventually. And obviously that would be the goal. Yeah, loving what they're doing with her. As sad as it is. All right, guys. Next match on the card, we had Jasper Troy, the winner of season 1 of LFG, making his NXT in-ring debut, and it was going to be against none other than the gatekeeper of Level Up. Can't really call him that anymore. But Dante Chen, yes, as some people were shocked to find out, Dante Chen still is there under contract. Guys, Dante Chen's awesome. He's really good. But yeah, the former gatekeeper of Level Up, uh, there for the debut match of Jasper Troy. Yeah, Jasper won this one in about 3.5 minutes. I didn't expect this to go super duper long. Jasper trying to make that impact last that he made last week. And yeah, solid work here. You know, Dante Chen is a good guy to be in there with. He can make somebody look really good. Jasper looks good anyway, but he looked good here tonight against Dante Chen. You know, Dante Chen's been kind of defined down. I guess if he's a gatekeeper of like, you know, a Level Up Evolve, then the gate has not been kept and Jasper is there. So through the gate goes Jasper. After the match, Jasper was called out from the crow's nest by Obafemi. I liked this. Oba said that Jasper's 5 minutes were up. Yeah, I guess, you know, here we're going to get a Obafemi Jasper Troy match. I think that they can have a great, just solid, big, meaty, man slapping meat style match. I think that Oba can probably help Jasper a bit, you know, in that regard. Kind of, I think get him to a really good match. But so yeah, God, looking forward to that. I feel like I said that an awful lot. That should be kind of the catchphrase, pro wrestling hipster. Looking forward to that. But I am. Yeah, and again, I say this a lot. I love the use of the crow's nests for things like this. So pretty good. All right, Celeste, where are we at on here? Turn the page on my notes. All right, so from there to the backstage, we had that's kind of a blurry picture. My apologies. Got it. That at any fewer pixels, it would be radio. But the NQCC in their training corner of the backstage area, and you know, Miles and Tavion were kind of talking each other up, but up comes Charlie Dempsey, and Charlie's like, "All right, guys, let's pull back. It's time to recalibrate and you know, focus." And I don't know why I make him sound like that, but he wanted them to pull back and start training harder again because they all lost. Yeah, Charlie being a douche, right? That's what's going on here. More high douchery from Charlie Dempsey, but Miles was like, "What?" And Charlie started repeating himself. He said, "No, I heard you." But Miles doesn't want to do that. Miles feels like after Sunday, he's ready to be in that main event scene. He's ready to propel himself forward and upward to higher heights. And you know, as honestly as Tavion. And Charlie said, "No, I brought you into the No Quarter Catch crew. I will decide when it's time for you to do anything, really." And he disagreed and said, "You know what? How about we go back to how it used to be? I beat you next week. I can do what I want. I can leave." And Charlie Dempsey agreed to this. He said, "Hey, let's make it a rounds match," which, of course, is Charlie's kind of specialty, you know, as a former Heritage Cup champion. And they agreed to that. So, yeah, next week, I guess, for the fate of Miles Bourne, he will be facing the leader of the No Quarter Catch crew, Charlie Dempsey. And if Miles wins, he's able to do what he wishes. He can leave the NQCC. I assume that we're going to fully solidify the face turns of he and Tavion and the brutal heel turn of Charlie Dempsey next week. on NXT television, but I like it. I'm here for it. If you did not see Battleground, you should. It was a really good show. But Miles Bourne and Obafemi had an absolute slobber knocker of a match. Obviously Oba was going to win that match. They weren't going to put the world title on Miles Bourne, but dare I say that night, a star was born. See? Puns, yo. But no, seriously, he put on a great match with Oba. Hell of a fight. Looked like $1,000,000, even in loss. And I think that he is ready for that, that singles push here. So looking forward to that, guys. We'll see what happens next week. But I think he's going to be probably leaving the NQCC. Or Charlie somehow wins, and this is part of the heel face dynamic, and, he breaks away that way. But we'll find out next week, though, right? All right, back into the arena. I guess shower and changing your clothes was the order of the night. Following suit with Mike Santana, All Ego Ethan Page is mid-ring to celebrate his newly won North American Championship. He said that he wasn't going to wait to celebrate. He was going to go ahead and get the party started here tonight. And before he can really get too far into it, the young OG Javon Evans makes his way out saying, hey, you're going to have this party, this celebration, and you weren't going to invite me? He pointed out that there was nobody less deserving of a championship victory than Ethan Page, and that he's still waiting for Ethan to cop up to the bill for his jaw surgery. I'm sure that was expensive. Dental surgery is wildly pricey, and most major insurers do not offer comprehensive dental coverage. Not the point. Not the point right now. But he said that he knows that match, or sorry, that title needs to be defended at Worlds Collide coming up, and that he can't think of anybody better than perhaps himself, the young OG Javon Evans, to get that shot. And Ethan wasn't too happy with this idea. He didn't think that really Javon deserved it. And Javon was quick to point out, saying, no, I'm not talking about wrestling, just me. And out comes sorry. And now this is when Celeste jumps off of my lap. Out comes Laredo Kid of AAA. This was a shocking appearance. Didn't see that one coming here tonight. Again, figured they'd be getting stuff set up and ready to roll for Worlds Collide here. So I guess I should have expected something like this. But got a big reaction from the crowd there at the Performance Center. Said some words as Ethan Page even more greatly protested here. That he didn't want to be in a triple threat, let alone a match against Javon Evans, but now a triple threat match. And again, Javon pointed out that it wasn't just him. There was one more person to be in this title match, and that was Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix, again, saying a few words here. Nice, kind things to the Performance Center crowd, stating that he was happy to be at NXT. And they established that it was going to be a fatal four-way between Ray Phoenix, Javon Evans, Laredo Kid, and the champion, All Ego Ethan Page, for that North American Championship at Worlds Collide. Jeez Louise, guys, this is going to be an absolute banger of a match. Don't really know what I think in terms of outcome on that yet. Give me a week to think about it. I don't really have a quick knee jerk. God, if they really, really wanted to go full tilt with the inter-promotional dealings and workings here, Laredo Kid. Why not? You own AAA. Just do it. Do it. Let's do this. Trick Williams is TNA champion. And that's just a contracted partnership. You can easily put an NXT title on a AAA wrestler. Come on. Let's do this. That's my knee-jerk pick right there is Laredo Kid. That's what I think they're going to go do. But yeah, it's going to be a hell of a match. Hell of a match. after that announcement there, we did shoot backstage with Mr. Stone, Stevie Turner, and Ava, and they were discussing this fatal 4-way match. And they were talking about how when I say they, I mean Stevie and Mr. Stone. They were upset that no one from Evolve had an opportunity to be in this match, such as Sean Legacy, who, as you know, does have a North American title shot, in his belt. He has that. He won that opportunity. But Ava did say here that he will face whomever wins this fatal 4-way for that championship. So, it's going to be a hell of a match. Worlds Collide is going to be a lot of fun, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. An afternoon show at that. But, all right. From there in the backstage, still in the backstage area, we had again the very sad, very lonely Tatum Paxley, and she was approached by Zarya and Sol Ruka, and they said they don't know her all that well, but it's sad. They feel bad seeing her like this, And they tried to be comforting here. They tried to bring a little sunshine to the dark despair world of Tatum Paxley. I don't think it worked. More alarming, though, in the background, because they told Tatum that, things will turn around for her, that, her new best friend, her new friends could be right around the corner. And they show the information bush skulking in the background. Sorry, the culling, as they are properly called. But yeah, they show them skulking around the background. So they're going to try to take the soul of Tatum Paxley, and I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want Shawn Spears to interfere with Tatum. Tatum is very vulnerable right now, and she's very impressionable. And I need for Shawn Spears and his information bush to stay away from Tatum. Be strong, Tatum. Be strong. Don't fall for their tricks and their ruse and their guys. But all right, guys, ahead of the break, we had Fatal Influence Jacy Jayne flanked by Fallon Henley and Jasmine Nix on their way out to the ring for tonight's main event. And coming back, it was main event time. Jacy Jayne made her entrance first, and then Stephanie Vaquer through the red fog, the women's champion, making her way to the ring to defend against Fatal Influences Jacy Jayne. Y'all, I said, spoiler earlier tonight, that the North American Championship changing hands wasn't to be the only major shock. And going into this match, this was one of those situations where you really thought the story was going to be more about the seeds of dissent in Fatal Influence, and they were going there. Fatal Influence was bickering; they were fighting amongst themselves. Even in this moment here, Jasmine Nix trying to bring some decorum, some friendliness back between Fallon and Jacy, and they just shoved her away. She walks away to the other side of the ring. But throughout the finish and the ending of the match here, the way they set this up was that the referee was being distracted by Jasmine Nix on the far corner. Jacy had Stephanie kind of flipped in the opposite corner, and around swing in the corner came Fallon Henley, kicking Stephanie Vaquer in the back of the head. Back into the ring they go. Jacy hits that rolling elbow there, and then 1, 2, 3. Jacy Jayne. Jacy Jayne is the NXT Women's Champion. That sums it up. Same energy, y'all. Jacy Jayne. And it wasn't clean. I understand that. It wasn't a clean victory. It was not. But Jacy Jayne beat Stephanie Vaquer for the NXT Women's Championship. Julia did not beat Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's Championship. Roxanne Perez did not beat Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's Championship. Jaida Parker didn't beat Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's Championship. Sunday night at Battleground, Jordynne Grace was not capable of beating Stephanie Vaquer for the NXT Women's Championship. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, with interference abound, the upset of upsets. I need a word stronger than upset. Shocker of shocks, but Jayne's done it. She's on top of the NXT Women's Mountain right now. She is the champion. And Stephanie Vaquer looked just distraught after. The crowd was stunned. Even Jacy looked stunned upon winning. So, an absolute shock ending to tonight's NXT. A title change that no one saw coming. I even thought there was less of a chance of a title change after the North American Championship changed hands. But nonetheless, 2 title matches, 2 title changes. Which one do you think was more surprising? Because I'd be hard pressed to really find anyone saying that Ricky Saints losing to Ethan Page was more surprising than this. I mean, my God, Ethan was a former NXT champion, so I mean that's a little more understandable. But my goodness, yeah, Jayne, and it's interesting because this is almost a shot that you get with faces when a face finally has this moment. But yeah, just when you think Fatal Influence is on the split, right when you think they're going to fracture completely, here we are. Yeah, I'm just stunned. Oh shoot! For some reason, it's not letting me bring the comments up in here. But Mac is in the chat, and Mac just said that he went on vacation the wrong week. Yeah, Mac, this was a hell of an NXT tonight, brother. And that Stephanie is probably going to Raw, and yeah, I have to concur there. Stephanie, she's had one boot on the main roster for a while, which is why I had picked Jordynne Grace to beat her for the NXT Women's Championship at Battleground on Sunday, which she did not. Which then led me to believe that she was going to be staying in NXT for a while longer, but I suppose she isn't. Yeah, I concur with Mac there that a move to Raw is probably the most likely thing for her. But yeah, guys, that was a shocking conclusion. Again, this image is just grilled into my mind now. Jayne, NXT Women's Champion. Jayne beat Stephanie Vaquer for the NXT Women's Championship. Short run as women's champion for Stephanie. I will say that was a shorter run than I expected her to have. I don't know. I'm sorry that I'm just so stunned about this, but I don't know if I have a more surprised Pikachu face kind of moment than this here tonight. Booker T is probably just absolutely just defeated right now. He's probably just very, very upset, ordering DoorDash sadly as we speak. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I like Jayne. She's not a bad wrestler. This is just so out of left field. This is like Jayne beating Stephanie Vaquer for the NXT Women's Championship, I think is akin to Jinder Mahal winning the WWE Championship. I think we're at that level of surprise and shock here. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Did anybody see this coming? Anybody out there? I don't know. But yeah, guys, I think from there I can safely transition into the NXT jobber of the night. I can tell you, you know, who it isn't immediately. But where's my sad trumpet? Yeah. Yeah, guys, my jobber of the night tonight. This is one of those jobber of the night times that's a little difficult. You know, because I think everybody kind of played their parts really well here this evening. But it's Dante Chen. It's the gatekeeper of NXT Level Up. He has no gate to keep at this point, and we haven't seen him on NXT proper in I don't know how long. If CJ were here right now, he would be looking that up on Cage Match for us. But sorry, guys, I can only multitask so much. Um, but yeah, Dante Chen is sadly my jobber of the night tonight. You know, hasn't been on NXT proper in a very long time, and he's on tonight against the newcomer of newcomers. Jasper Troy, and Jasper just decimates the man in less than 4 minutes. So sad, maybe an easy choice, but yeah. Sorry, Dante, but you're my jobber of the night tonight. But from the jobber of the night to happier things, let's talk about the megastar. Let's talk about tonight's megastar for May the 27th, 2025. The megastar. This might have been a more difficult choice than the jobber. Because I talked about how I feel that everyone really played their role here tonight. Everyone kind of fired on every cylinder they needed to get what they needed done. Whether that was character work backstage or their performance in the ring. Everybody got it done here tonight. And so I didn't know where to go. There was a lot of places here. Obviously, someone like Mike Santana making his NXT in-ring debut here tonight, or Tavion in that match against him. Like, obviously, both great contenders for that. Man, I mean, Ethan Page, new North American champion. Jayne, the new women's NXT champion. There's a lot of directions that one could go here with this tonight, but I I think barely edging out Jayne for me tonight is going to be Ethan Page. Ethan Page, I like Ethan Page with the belt around his waist. I don't think that Ricky Saints needs that championship necessarily as much as an Ethan Page does. Or hey, this could just be a way to get the belt moved somewhere else more quickly. But I think they might have Ricky more destined for the main roster sooner rather than later, and I really feel that way about Ethan as well. But I thought that opening match was just dynamite. No pun intended, as they were both in AEW. But I thought it was great, and I love the brutal, cruel version of Ethan Page, and so I think I got to give it to Ethan here. With obviously a runners up mention for both Jayne and Jasper Troy. I thought Jasper looked great in that match with Dante Chen. Like I said, it's really difficult to pick one just dedicated megastar here tonight when everyone did such a good job. But yeah, guys, that's NXT tonight in a nutshell. Great show, great follow-up to Battleground on Sunday. If you didn't see Battleground on Sunday, you should. And real quick, before I get rolling off air here tonight, since we didn't do a post show for Battleground, I'm sure as you all know, AEW Double or Nothing took place the same night, and so with that being obviously the bigger show, that's where the focus for the post show action went. So I just want to give some quick thoughts real quickly on things. Um, the 6-man tag was what it was. Solid stuff. I feel like now it was there just to bring Yoshiki Inamura back onto NXT television. Apparently, he was only in Japan for like a week and a half. He got there and flew right back. The match between Stax and Tony D, I thought that this was surprisingly good. They definitely outperformed my expectations for that match. It's clearly not completely over, which I guess is why it didn't have any sort of stipulation to it. So I guess the blood feud keeps on blood feuding, and we're going to get more out of that. There is more cream in that cannoli. Yeah. um, uh, Stephanie Vaquer and Jordan Grace, I am now even more confused about the outcome of this match with Stephanie having retained against Jordan. The match itself was just absolutely great, as to be expected, but I really did think it was going to be Jordan Grace's night that night, and it wasn't, and now I'm even more confused as to why it wasn't. If they were just going to have her drop the belt to Jayne on NXT television. But hey, it is also good to show every once in a while that anything can happen at virtually any time on NXT. Um, the Obafemi and Miles Bourne match, I talked about this a bit earlier, but I will say again that I think this was a star-making performance for Miles Bourne. He said that he feels that he's been propelled up into the main event PLE scene, and I agree with him. This match was just tremendous for him. Oba obviously is Obafemi. The man is the definition of aura, and he's going to be a main event mainstay for decades. But you already know what he's capable of. But yeah, Miles really turned it up here, and they gave him a lot. And even in loss, he looked phenomenal. And can't wait to see what they continue to do with him going forward. Sol Ruka and Kalani Jordan. I said this going into the weekend last week that this could easily be the show stealer and be the match of the night, and it very well could have. It's really close between this and Vaquer and Grace's match, but phenomenal showing between the two of them. Kalani and Sol work exceedingly well together. Clearly, their outside the ring friendship and trust is going to lend itself to just quality matches. And they have a similar style, a very athletic gymnastic style. And again, they just work so well together. Soul retaining made sense, as I think they're going to maybe start to lean towards a friendly rivalry between her and Zarya. But yeah, great match. Again, if you only have time to watch a couple matches from Battleground, that would be one of the ones I would say to watch for sure. And then I think finally, the Joe Hendry and Trick Williams match. A lot of people said I was wrong saying that Trick Williams was going to win that. And hey, sometimes the hipster calls it, and the hipster called it. Trick Williams winning that match. And I think that was the right decision. This partnership with TNA and NXT has been going on for a while. There have been multiple title opportunities between both companies, and it was time to finally pull the trigger on that. Trick's he's gonna have some fun over on Thursday nights for sure, and he'll put somebody over. I don't know that the belt's necessarily going to go back to Joe Hendry. I think maybe that could be Joe's move away from the championship. There are certainly some ideas and contenders, and I'm sure that the TNA crew on Thursday night will have some thoughts and theories and words on that as well. But that match went how I thought it was going to go. I think it went the way it should have went, and I like this. Not to sound too much like Booker T, but I like it. I do. I like an interpromotional title change. And as I said earlier, I wouldn't hate if they did that with Laredo Kid and the North American Championship. But yeah, so just want to give some quick, thoughts and whatnot there on Battleground from this past week before getting off the air. Guys, I want to thank y'all for tuning in live here this evening. I appreciate the heck out of every single one of you that tunes in live to, especially when it's just me, because I feel like that's kind of boring is to hear me, prattle on about NXT for an hour or so. But I appreciate you guys, and even if you are just tuning in to see Molly, I still appreciate it, even if that's the case, and I feel that it often is. But Liz and boys, girls, here to Molly. I have fantastic news for you. Dirt Sheet Radio isn't just here talking NXT on Tuesdays. No. We are here every night of the week for professional wrestling. Guys, we are here Monday nights after Raw, obviously Tuesday nights for NXT. We are here on Wednesday nights. That's when you can check out the flagship Dirt Sheet Radio program, which also includes, for free, the AEW Rewind. 2 shows for one price, which is $0. So be sure to check that out on Wednesday nights. Thursday nights, our sister show, the TNA Impact Rewind. Give them a watch as well, guys. So much cross-promotion going on between NXT and TNA. You kind of got to watch both shows at this point, And then, of course, Friday nights were made for SmackDown or SmackDown, if you like. And then on the weekends, guys, when me and my good buddy CJ have the opportunity, we like to bring you the Weekend Wrestling Roundup with the W. But every single week on Sunday, guys, the 3NT crew will be going live, breaking down the week of professional wrestling and looking good while they do it. So be sure to check out 3NT every single Sunday, guys. And if you could, I know you hate hearing it, the like, the subscribe, the bell, hit all those things so you know when we're going live, so you can tune in and see us. We appreciate it. It means a lot to us. It helps us out a lot. And please follow Dirt Sheet Radio on all social media platforms. And after you do that, if you could give me, Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster, a follow over on Facebook, that would be fantastic. I appreciate the hell out of you guys. And I'm at PW Hipster on Twitter and Instagram, but we don't do a whole lot of those things, do we, Molly? No. It's mostly Facebook for us, right, Molly? But guys, thank you again so much for tuning in live. Dirt Sheet Radio will be back again tomorrow night for more great coverage. Guys, we'll see you then. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, everyone. For me, for Molly, for Dirt Sheet Radio, have a wonderful night. We'll see you next time, guys.